discounts and that testing data at coronavirus.wa.gov. And each year following the end of the state fiscal year, Grace Harbor Public Health Housing Program staff provide an overview of the housing system and progress made in an annual meeting. But due to the COVID-19 restrictions this year, staff produced a series of videos covering the content. You can view those videos on the Public Health Department's website, healthygh.org. Housing staff will be hosting a virtual Q&A session over Zoom tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon. They'll invite stakeholders to ask questions, get clarification, and learn about next steps. You can find a link to that Zoom meeting in our story at gograceharbor.com. And the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife seeking comments on proposed alternatives for the 2021-2023 hunting seasons and has scheduled several meetings in August and September to discuss proposals with the public. They'll be posted Monday, August 17th on the department's website for the public to provide comments. They'll also be accepting public comment through Tuesday, September 15th. This year, the department has scheduled a series of virtual public meetings by topic to discuss the hunting season alternatives. You can find links to those meetings in our story at gograceharbor.com. I'll take a look at regional news this morning. The man accused of causing the death of a Bothell police officer during a gunfight in July pleaded not guilty on Monday to aggravated first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and vehicular assault. 37-year-old Harry Eugene Washington was charged in King County Superior Court on the 17th of July, 4 days after a traffic stop in Bothell turned into a shootout that killed Officer Jonathan Shoup and wounded police officer Mustafa Kumkar. Washington is being held without bail. Seattle Times reports Washington is accused of firing shots into Shoup and Kumkar's patrol car following a brief car chase on the night of July 13th. As both Shoup and Kumkar returned fire, Shoup was caught in the crossfire and struck by one of Kumkar's bullets. Prosecutors said that although Washington didn't fire the fatal shot, he was intent on killing the officers and is responsible for Shoup's death. Now you're up to date. I'm Dave Haviland in the newsroom.
Good morning. In sports today, well, the young Seattle Mariners lost to the Angels last night, 5-3 at T-Mobile Park. Same two teams go at it tonight. Yep, the Angels at T-Mobile Park against the Mariners, 6:40 for the first pitch. You can check it out on Root Sports. In some other scores around Major League Baseball, Atlanta got by Toronto rather handily, 10-1. It was Chicago's Cubs over Kansas City, 5-4. Colorado beat San Francisco, 5-2. And the Dodgers over San Diego, 5-2. Oakland got by Texas, 5-1. And Houston, 8. Arizona, 2. Some NBA action. It was Phoenix over the LA Chargers, 117-115. Miami beat Boston, 112-106. Dallas in overtime beat Sacramento, 114-110. And Portland got by Houston, 110-102. The Miami Marlins got the win yesterday in their return to play after 8 days suspended due to the coronavirus outbreak on the team, in which 17 players tested positive. Packed with replacement players for those who have had the virus, the Marlins beat the Baltimore Orioles 4-0. Defending U.S. Open champion Rafael Nadal said yesterday he will skip the Grand Slam tournament this year because of the pandemic. The 34-year-old Spaniard broke the news in a series of tweets saying he'd rather not travel. The U.S. Open set to begin August 31st in Queens, New York. The Detroit Lions removed quarterback Matthew Stafford from the coronavirus list yesterday, saying he'd had a false positive test result. Stafford was placed on the list over the weekend, but the Lions said Tuesday that he'd first tested negative twice, then had a positive that turned out to be false, followed by 3 negative tests. By the way, his wife's quite upset because they were harassed a lot after the positive came out from the NFL, even though it was not a positive. And there will not be any fans at the Indianapolis 500 after Roger Penske, who bought the Speedway in January, changed his mind. Penske at first said he would not run the race without fans, then said spectators would be allowed at 50%. He later lowered that to 25%. And now the decision has been made to not have fans at all, as the number of coronavirus cases continue to rise. The Indy 500 earlier moved to August 23rd from the Memorial Day weekend because of the pandemic. That is the latest in sports. I'm Reese Davis.
It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. 7:14 is the time. And with us from Grace Harbor College is Ralph Hogaboom and Brody Nodell. Good morning, guys.
Morning, Doug. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
I'm doing well.
Now is Brody a student at the college?
Yeah,
I'm
go for
an
it,
incoming
Brody.
freshman, so I just enrolled in classes for the fall quarter. I just graduated high school.
Oh, okay. So now this will be the first year for this at the college, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, we are super excited too.
So for those that aren't totally up to speed on esports, kind of describe what it entails.
Oh, good. I love that question. So, esports is organized competitive video game playing. It's typically it's teams that have defined roles on that team that work together to overcome a rival team to achieve some kind of an objective.
So the games that you play, are they the kind you buy over the counter, or are these specific games that are made for esports?
You know, it's all over the place, but I am seeing more and more games, specifically the last, I would say, 5 years, have really recognized, okay, we've sort of done everything we can do with single player games, with making the artificial intelligence, a good opponent for people, and people have just gotten so good at games that they need to say, okay, now we're ready to overcome human intelligence. We're ready to pit people against people and sort of leave the computer game logic behind and see what we can do when we get into a space where there's a mix of strategy and tactics, and then your mechanical skill combined with how well do you work together as a team. What do you do following orders and filling your role to help your teammates to overcome. It's
now,
really
this sounds
fascinating.
a little bit like the military, just a bit here.
You know what's interesting is the military is turning more and more to video games for recruiting.
Well, it makes sense, because if it's teaching you discipline and how to follow orders, and then of course there's the coordination that you develop. Plus, I guess for people that are like fly airplanes, that fly drones. I would think there's all sorts of applications in the military, or jobs in the military, that if you're really good at this, you would probably qualify for.
I think that you're probably right. I hadn't considered the military parallels until you pointed it out. I got to tell you, it feels a lot less like following orders than it does when you're on the field in one of these games and you're thinking, okay, what can I do to put all of our opponents at a disadvantage and to put my teammates in a better position? And so it's not so much that there's one person or a team captain who's calling out orders, as much as it is you're thinking not just about yourself, but you're thinking about everybody else and putting yourself in their shoes and saying, what's good for everyone here, not just what's good for me.
So essentially, of course, now you make it sound like that some of the action that you are dealing with is kind of a military action on the screen as well.
There are certainly a lot of shooter games that are in esports that have that sort of direct parallel. Gosh, I think it was 10 or 15 years ago that the U.S. Army released a shooter game called America's Army that was in part a recruitment outreach. But I have to tell you that esports today does tend towards a more variation. One of the titles we're launching this fall, Doug, is Rocket League, and Rocket League is either 2 versus 2 or 3 versus 3, and it's a rocket-powered car on a soccer field, and your job is to get the ball in the opponent's net. So it's, in terms of having a sort of sport analog, I would say that's the future of esports.
Okay.
Something more like
so
that.
you're using cars as like a teammate to kick a ball around, in a sense.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Well, we're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back. We have a real short break here, and then we'll continue on with our conversation here. It is 7:19, and we will be back with Ralph Hogeboom and Brody Nodell in just a moment. The Port of Grays Harbor is one of Washington's oldest port districts and Washington's only deepwater port located directly on the Pacific Ocean. The Port of Grays Harbor operates 4 deepwater marine terminals, the Westport Marina, Bowerman Airport, Grays Harbor Ship Assist Services, in addition to industrial and business parks throughout the county. Strategically located midway between Seattle and Portland and only 1.5 hours from open sea, the Port of Grays Harbor provides businesses a diverse portfolio of facilities. It has long been a priority for the Port of Grays Harbor Commission to provide public access to the waterfront. The port invites you to get out and explore one of its public waterfront facilities throughout Grays Harbor, including the newly improved 28th Street Boat Launch in Hoquiam, Friends Landing, which boasts 152 acres of recreational area, including a walking trail, playground, and 2 boat launches just outside of Montesano, or the Westport Marina, with its new boat launch, parking lot improvements, and a viewing tower. The Port of Grays Harbor, your waterfront, your community, your port. It's KBKW's Coffee Talk from Grays Harbor College. We have Ralph Hogeboom and then Brody Nodell. And now, Ralph, you're an instructor in the course. Is that part of your job?
I'm not. My official job title is system administrator, so I'm sort of the network administrator in the computer department. But I have an esports management certificate from University of California, Irvine, and I have been playing in rec leagues for esports for, gosh, I would say the last 3 years, and was for about a year. I was the sponsorship coordinator for minor league esports, which is another club. It's an online group that is international, North America and Europe.
So is this a sport that you could make a career out of and make a living?
You know, so I'll tell you a couple things about that because it's really interesting. Playing video games, right? But there are a bunch of jobs in that area. There is a game called Overwatch, which is 2 teams of 6 players, and it is a little bit more like the shooter games we were talking earlier. It does combine some sort of fantasy elements, but Overwatch is a game that has a franchised league. There's a team in Shanghai. There's a team down in Dallas. They are around the world, and the base salary for one of those players in the Overwatch league is $50,000. That's the minimum salary that one of them is going to make a year. But the average salary in 2019 was $114,000 for one of those players.
Whoa, that's good money.
They get health care. They have other benefits that come along with that. And you know, that's at the professional level. Certainly there are people who are pro-am who are getting tournament winnings and, you know, making under $100,000 a year, but still making decent income from gaming. On top of that, if you go to a website like hitmarker.net, you're going to find about 6,000 jobs in esports right now. Everything from, you know, level design and programming, visual effects, community management, marketing managers, tournament organizers, camera operators, people that run in-game cameras to provide the footage for people who are watching these games live, the broadcasters and announcers. I have a friend, Doug, his name is Jeff Hunted, and he just made the transition from doing amateur casting, you know, broadcasting, you know, being the announcer and the play-by-play commentator for an esport, and now he just got his first gig in radio for the Rocket League World Championship Series just last weekend. So he kind of went the other way. He went from video games to radio.
Of course, you're using the same talent though, which is, you know, his vocal talent.
Absolutely. There's so much overlap in terms of esports being an industry that I you know, it's funny because part of me thinks, but they're just playing video games. But I suppose you could say the same thing about basketball, right? They're just playing with a ball.
Yeah. Now we have a question for you from our email. It says, as interesting as the gaming team is, we wish Grays Harbor College had a computer lab and computer classes, especially in a state where technology is so regarded. We need to keep up with the tech industry for our students and community. There is no computer lab or tech classes or degree. Crazy. What are your thoughts?
Well, as far as I think that's a really good insight. And I do want to say one thing about esports is those students in esports programs, in extracurricular esports, are the ones who also tend to have way more interest in STEM classes, those science,
Mm.
technology, engineering, and math classes. There's a tremendous amount of overlap there. As far as not having labs, gosh, I think we have 5 labs on campus. And
Oh,
once we finish the esports arena, we're going to have the sixth with some pretty high end equipment. As far as technology classes, we do have the sort of Microsoft Office user specialization classes where we teach, okay, well, we've got somebody who wants to get a certificate, I think, in Microsoft Access. They want to do database and user interface design for small businesses. So we have those sort of certification classes available. Um, but I do, I would love to see more technology, more like networking. Cybersecurity is one thing that we've been talking about specifically with regards to esports. Can we make these things go hand in hand where we're saying, we really want to become a center of excellence for this? So I'm right there with you. Bring on the tech.
now I have a question now. Basically, kind of describe what the team or teams that you're going to have at the college. What will they be doing? Where will they be going? So we can get an idea what this actual instruction is like.
Sure. So we are building our arena right now, and that is sort of in flux. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of this coronavirus thing, Doug. I think it's kind of going to be a
Oh
big
yeah.
deal. So it's thrown a bit of a monkey wrench in our plans. But we have 12 top of the line computers, 12 27-inch, 144 hertz monitors, which if there's any gamers out there listening, you're going to recognize as a pretty sweet machine. Gaming chairs, they've got jerseys, lockers in there. We've got 2 dedicated Smash Brothers Ultimate stations with pretty high end monitors that also run out to 65-inch flat panels for spectator viewing. There's actually a spectators area, and there is a full service broadcast station in there capable of pulling in multiple cameras and multiple game capture screens with high-end audio and running it out to Twitch or Facebook or Restreamio or wherever you want to send that signal. And that is sort of the center, the geographic or the geospatial physical space center of the esports program. But of course, we're going to be starting remote. Grace Harbor College is looking to be remote for fall quarter, and we'll see what happens after that. But I will tell you that a typical week looks like between 3 and 9 hours of practice in the program, and at least 1 hour of that is going to be doing what esports people refer to as VOD review. And VOD is short for video on demand, and that's basically where you take a game, either a replay file or actual, captured video footage of a game, and you hire somebody, in this case, a digital virtual coach, somebody from around the world who has achieved really, really high ranks in this game. And they look at your gameplay and they say, okay, I notice you go over here and you refill some health, or you go and you pick up more ammo, or you get more boost, and you left your teammate vulnerable. If you take a look at the offense, they're doing this, and you really need to be supporting your team over here. Or they recommend different strategy or different training methods or training packs that you can download to use to really bring your game to the next level. So when we're talking about having 6 different gaming titles, and you can think of a gaming title as very similar to a given sport. So Super Smash Brothers Ultimate might be similar to basketball, for example, and Rocket League might be our wrestling sport, that sort of thing. Bringing in this digital coaching lets us bring in top tier talent from around the world for an hour at a time to work directly with our players to say, what can we do to really push your game to the next level? And then the last part of the sort of average week for these players is once a week we're looking at doing league play. So we're going to be competing in multiple national leagues and giving our students the chance to play against other community college and 4-year college students across the nation is super exciting to me.
Now, do you want to go into the next 20 minutes, or because I think we should probably go over how people can sign up for this. And I also have another question for you. So you want to hang with us?
Absolutely.
Okay, because we're going to take an 8-minute break, so you guys can take it easy there, and then we'll be back. And I want to get Bodie's take on all of this too, as well, to find out, from a young man as he is, what he thinks about all of this. So we'll be back with you in about 8 minutes and continue our conversation.
Thank you so much.
You betcha. Hang in there.
Thank you.
We'll be back. It's 7:29.
Your daily dose of debate.
I feel that the Republican Party is not as compassionate. There is just no compassion for people that are of a lesser standard in the society.
Let me disagree with you. Do you think that handing someone a check is the best demonstration of compassion? Or is it a better demonstration of compassion to show someone respect and to try to clear away the obstacles in his path?
The Michael Medved Show. Medved at noon on KBKW.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Returning to the table today, congressional negotiators back for another round of talks on the next installment of coronavirus relief. The Senate Democrats and Republicans continue to challenge each other's priorities for the relief package. There is a desperate hunt for survivors underway in Beirut following a powerful explosion that killed at least 100 people, injured thousands more. The blast brought down buildings and hurled vehicles through the air, streets littered with debris for miles around. That explosion apparently caused by the detonation of 2,700 tons of ammonium nitrate that was stored in a warehouse. On Wall Street, stocks flying high this morning. Right now, the Dow is up 284 points. The S&P 20 points higher. The NASDAQ up 40. More details at srnnews.com.
Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates is excited to announce our new telemedicine appointment system. Patients can schedule their appointments through the FASA patient portal. Then, instead of driving to the office, conduct your doctor visit face-to-face online. Save time, lose the hassle of commuting to the office, and still get the very best care available. Telemedicine at Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates. Call today to learn more.
Helping you put your best foot forward. Foot and Ankle Surgical Associates.
Brady Veterinary Hospital is open for essential services, but are limiting lobby access by implementing drop-off and pickup procedures. You're encouraged to utilize BradyVet.com to order food, supplements, and over-the-counter medications. You can also check out our pause plans. With just one low monthly payment, things like vaccinations, tests, and office exams are covered. BradyVet also accepts Care Credit. Care Credit can be a financial lifesaver in times of emergencies. For more info, visit BradyVet.com. Voted Best Vet on the Twin Harbors, Brady Veterinary Hospital.
Good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm Dave Haviland in the newsroom. Preliminary numbers from the August 4th primary election in Washington State posted just after 8 o'clock last night. The Grace Harbor Elections Office reports 29.1% voter turnout so far. Locally, Jill Warren has more than half of the votes in the race for the Grace Harbor County Commissioner seat in District 1. Jamie Nichols trails with over 30%. Incumbent Commissioner Randy Ross is trailing by over 300 votes in his District 2 race. Kevin Pine leads that race, with John Shaw trailing Ross by less than 200 votes. A levy in Elma to partially fund police services for 2021 is passing, and an excess levy for maintenance and operations of the South Beach Regional Fire Authority is passing. In Legislative District 19, incumbent State Senator Dean Tacko leads his race with almost half of the votes. Incumbent State Representative Jim Walsh has more than half of the votes in his race. Incumbent State Representative Brian Blake is trailing Joel McIntyre, but that two-party race will advance to the November general. In Legislative District 24, another two-party race preview shows incumbent State Senator Kevin Vandeweghe leading Connie Boves. Incumbent State Representative Mike Chapman holds over 50% of the votes in his race, and incumbent State Representative Steve Theringer has nearly half of the votes over three others in his race. Statewide, incumbent Governor Jay Inslee has 51% of the votes. Lauren Culp looks to be his November challenger with over 16% of the votes. Congressman Derek Kilmer has just over 50% of the votes for his District 6 seat. Denny Heck leads 10 others for the lieutenant governor seat, and incumbent Secretary of State Kim Wyman will likely face Gail Tarleton. Ferguson. Incumbent Attorney General Bob Ferguson will likely face Matt Larkin, and incumbent Commissioner of Public Lands Hillary Franz will face Sue Kell Peterson. Incumbent Superintendent of Public Instruction Chris Reichdahl will likely face Maya Espinoza. The primary results whittle the race down to the top two vote-getters who will advance to the November general election. You can find those numbers as they're updated throughout the coming weeks at vote.wa.gov.
Prices are for base buildings only. May not be available in some areas. Attention business owners, do you want a stimulus package that really works? Before you spend thousands of dollars more than you should on your next building project, listen to this. General Steel has a stimulus package designed to help you save as much as half the cost of conventional construction on your next building. As much as half. That's right. General Steel can save you thousands of dollars with a pre-engineered steel building designed for your business or church. How about a 50 by 100 foot building for under $30,000? So don't pay thousands more than you should without calling General Steel first and save as much as half the cost and time of conventional construction. With the projected demand for steel in Japan and China, prices may be skyrocketing.
877-927-3362. 877-927-3362. 877-927-3362.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Laptops for Alabama schools under wraps. Jim Farley tapped as Ford's new CEO.
We're not on the air yet. We have 2 minutes. After Lou Dobbs, we'll take back on the air.
Thank you.
Okay, hang on.
Asbestos is the only known cause of mesothelioma, a deadly cancer. People who were exposed to asbestos decades ago are being diagnosed to this day with mesothelioma. That's because it can take as many as 30 or even 50 years to develop. But did you also know there's money to pay victims of asbestos exposure from years ago? An estimated $30 billion available to help compensate victims and their families. If you or a member of your family have been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be able to receive some of this money without ever going to court or filing a lawsuit. Get a free legal review today. Call Sokolov Law at 800-910-1950. That's 800-910-1950. About 4,000 brand new laptop computers designated for a school district in Alabama are being held by Customs because of human rights concerns. According to the Department of Commerce, they ordered the computers blocked for shipment because they involve a manufacturer accused of human rights violations in China. School begins in just weeks, but no word on how long the cargo will be restricted. 58-year-old Jim Farley set to become CEO of Ford Motor effective October 1st. He'll be replacing James Hackett, who is retiring after 3 years in the job. Farley will oversee Ford's new electric power vehicles lineup. Jobless claims rose during the past 2 weeks. Tomorrow's update should give an indication as to whether the trend continues. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. And with us today, we have from Grace Harbor College, Ralph Hogeboom, and also Brody Nodell. And Brody is going to be involved in the esports classes that they're going to have at Grace Harbor College. And I got a question by way of email for you guys again. So let me pull it up here. It says, are esports spectator sports, for instance, maybe e-boxing or auto racing?
Yes, that is a definite yes. There is a website called Twitch.tv. Now that is a company that's owned by Amazon, and Twitch.tv is just like ESPN for video games. And there are huge numbers. You're talking spectator sports. Doug, last year, I think it was 99.7 something million people watched the Super Bowl. Over 100 million people watched the League of Legends World Championship last year.
Whoa, it outdueled the Super Bowl.
It did.
Now, Bodie, how old are you?
I'm 18.
18 years old, and so this will be your first year of college. So what's your take on this? I mean, does getting involved in this kind of make you even more excited about everything else that you're going to be doing in college because you get to do this as well?
Oh, absolutely. I've been playing video games since I was a little kid, and it's something I've always loved, and I think I've been getting better at. And then now that I've got the chance to, like compete and play games with other people, and really just test my skill against others, it's really something I love doing, and I'm really excited about for when it actually starts.
So, is this what you want to make a career out of? If that's possible, would you like to do that?
Oh, it's something I love, and I'd really like to look into, but I've also got other options I like to do. So I'm going to look into all my options before making a definite decision.
Mm-hmm. Now, what are some of the things that you will be doing in the course? Like your curriculum, or how are you going to? I'm trying to figure out, as an old 70-year-old guy, trying to paint in my mind how this is all going to work. Can you explain a little bit more, like how you would have a class, what you would do?
Well, I can jump in here. Bodie, I don't mean to steal your thunder here. So esports is much more like an extracurricular sport than it is like a class with curricula. So we are not doing esports based classes at this time at the college. We are specifically doing practices like you would for cross country or for baseball. And then we've got games about once a week that we play against other colleges.
So it's just like a sport,
Exactly.
just like it said.
Exactly.
Okay. That helped me a whole bunch because I was sitting there, well, what are you going to do when you come in the classroom? No, it's going to be, you're going to be playing.
Yep.
Now, Bodie, when you were, how old, you said you were a kid when you started playing video games, so how old were you when you started?
Trying to remember. I think I was probably 12 when I started. It really started to stick with me.
And what games did you like to play back then?
I think one of the first games I remember really loving and wanting to play more against other people was one of the earlier Smash Brothers games.
And do you have any girls are going to be signed up for this, or is this kind of a guys thing, or do you have a lot of female players as well?
I really like that question because esports in general has been up to this point pretty male dominated. There have been some instances, in the last 5 years, I think, where there have been some embarrassing things that have happened in the esports industry having to do largely with sexism and with some people having some old-fashioned ideas. And that's one area that I think colleges have a really good opportunity. There is a nonprofit organization called AnyKey, and their whole goal is to say, look, we've got underrepresented groups that they're just not showing up for gaming. We know from the numbers that slightly over 50% of all gamers are women. And we don't see that translate to the competitive sport. So there's a really big opportunity for an organization like AnyKey to say, what can we do to help promote women and other underrepresented groups in gaming, and to really work with organizations that sort of have that principle that we should all be playing on an equal level. We should all be having sort of an equal battlefield here. And esports being co-ed, honestly, that works out great because we don't have locker rooms, Doug. So we don't have to worry about that. It can be a fully co-ed sport. And Grace Harbor College has taken it's called the GLHF pledge from AnyKey, which says that we are talking about good sporting behavior. We are talking about making sure that everybody has an equal chance or an equal opportunity to get in and get access to this training, get access to the teams, get access to the jerseys and the lockers, and really have a chance to get in there and play. And I will tell you more specifically, yes, there are a number of women recruits that I am looking at right now from our area who have filled out our recruiting form at ghc.edu/esports, gotten in touch with me and said, yes, I want to play.
Now, I have a question because, with lots of sports, you'll have the girls and the boys because of the physical differences. But I would think in esports, that doesn't make a whole lot of difference, does it?
It does not.
So competing boys to girls, that would be totally normal. It would be basically a co-ed sport.
Yes, absolutely. So one of my favorite players in the industry, her name is Karma, and she is one of the world's top Rocket League players. And I think she's 26. I believe she lives in Los Angeles, and she's played for a number of different teams. And I just love her attitude, and I love her passion for the sport. She is just a fantastic Rocket League player, and I always look forward to watching her. But she's just one. There aren't as many women players in esports as there are men. But the ones that are out there, I just love watching them. They bring so much to the game, in my opinion.
So do you think as this spreads through colleges that you'll see a kind of a balancing between the male and females?
I do. I can tell you that since April, we have been running weekly community game nights. We call it our Thursday night gaming. And about 6 p.m. every week, we get together and we play a different game online, and we broadcast it on twitch.tv. And we've had a number of people from other colleges around the country who've come in and done our sort of play-by-play commentary as we're competing in these sports. My friend RJ Soros from Ohio State University, she's one of the analysts on their Rocket League esports team. And OSU, I think, took the Collegiate Carball Association Award, in 2018? Maybe it was early in 2019 in the spring season. Another friend of ours, Ziva the Diva is her online name, is from Florida State University, and she's one of their Overwatch players. We had Blue Boxers and Morningstar from Peninsula College and from somewhere down in San Diego. Another couple of women who came in and did some casting for us for Overwatch. I can tell you this Thursday, we're doing another Rocket League event, Thursday at 6 p.m. It's Rocket League with a sort of hockey mode and a basketball mode and a couple of other different game, sport type modes. And we've got RJ from Ohio State University. She's going to be broadcasting, and another player from, I think, Pennsylvania, and her name is Snowy Feather. And so there are definitely women involved in esports, not just as players, but also as commentators, as graphic arts designers, as video editors, putting together stuff behind the scene, organizing tournaments, hosting these sort of broadcasts. It is a really, really great time, and you're dead on the money that there is no difference between a woman player and a man player.
Now, I got another email here. It says, can you earn a letter?
We don't have a formal varsity lettering program and now I want one. So thanks.
Yeah, it was one of the questions that we got today. And by the way, if you have a comment or question, you can email it to us at doug@kbkw.com. Now I'm gonna take a break because we're close to break time, so we can get that out of our way, and then we'll continue on with our conversation. 7:47 is the time, and we'll be back in just 1 minute.
Are you and your family currently experiencing homelessness or in a situation where you are losing your housing? Please remember that Family Promise of Grays Harbor assists families with our temporary shelter program. Solving homelessness is not just about housing. Our holistic approach to the crisis of family homelessness includes 3 key areas of focus: prevention, shelter, and stabilization. Our team can help support your family through this tough time with comprehensive, innovative solutions. Contact us today at 360-986-3948, 360-986-3948, or visit www.familypromiseofgraysharbor.org. If you or someone you know could benefit from our services or would like more information, you can also check us out on Facebook. While things go well for Family Promise of Grays Harbor, the need for volunteers, additional host congregations, and continued financial support remains great. Assistance of any kind is appreciated.
It's KBKW's Coffee Talk. And as we go back to our guests, Ralph Hogeboom and Brody Nodell, I have a question for you concerning ages, because we had a friend of ours, and this was a number of years ago. She's passed away, and she was in her 80s, and she was playing video games. And then there's a commercial on television. They're talking about a high-speed internet, and and it shows these people going, "Oh yeah, I love this." And one of the little characters in there is this old lady, and is all excited because now she'll be able to play all her favorite video games, and the quality will be better, so on and so forth. So how old are some of the people say that are gaming here? And is there any age limit for people if they want to sign up for this?
There is no age limit. Unlike some of the sports that the colleges in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho are all part of the NWAC, the Northwestern Athletics Consortium, I think. Maybe it's community colleges. And NWAC does have age restrictions. Specifically, I think they need you to be 18. So running start students are not allowed to play in the NWAC. We're not in the NWAC, which means running start students, who typically start at 16, sometimes a little bit younger, are absolutely eligible for esports. Now, esports does tend to skew younger, but video gaming certainly doesn't, and that is not any kind of a requirement. Doug, I'll tell you, I'm 43, and I am in the top 8% worldwide for Rocket League, so old people can still do stuff.
To me, you're not old.
Well, good.
I just turned 70, so I'm thinking, oh, wow.
It's funny you were talking about that example because my friend Cheryl, I think, is in her 80s, and she's a World of Warcraft player. She runs a guild in World of Warcraft and has for, I think 10 years now. And, when you look at her, you don't think, oh, yeah, there's a fighter, but she absolutely is.
So, kind of go over everything again, because we're just about to the end of the hour, and we probably have people that have jumped in here and maybe want to get involved in the classes. So how do they go about signing up for this, and kind of go through the drill and when everything gets started?
So I've got two answers for you there. One, if you're listening and you're thinking, you or somebody niece and nephew or cousin or parent or something, they're really into competitive video games. They want to get involved. They play League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, or Fortnite or Valorant, and they want to get involved with our program. Head on over to ghc.edu/esports. and click on the Join the Team button. That will take you to a recruitment form. You fill that out. That comes straight to me. We get you enrolled in classes for fall, and we get you on the team. We see where you're at as far as skill level is concerned, but we do have open seats. We're looking for 25 to 35 people right now when you count in our JV sports of Fortnite and Valorant. The second option is if you say, look, I'm not ready to go to school, or I don't want to play in these collegiate leagues, but I definitely want to be involved in the gaming community that lives here. Well, we've got such a good thing for you, because every Thursday we do our community game nights. We call them Thursday Night Gaming, and we stream them live on Twitch. And that's everything from Minecraft to like question and answer games like Quiplash or Jackbox. We play Sea of Thieves, and we also do the competitive games too. This Thursday we've got Rocket League coming up, which is going to be casual game night. These things are all ages. They're free. They're open to everyone worldwide, although I got to tell you, we are really developing quite a community around here. Some of the people that have been coming and hanging out with us since April are really starting to gel into just a great group of people that I love spending time with every week. So one thing about that, and I know you're running out of time, but I do want to highlight, Bodie is helping us to do a tournament on the 20th of this month for Smash Brothers. And he's got some experience running grassroots tournaments previously, but one thing that I really like about esports and about gaming is these sort of peripheral skills that people pick up in terms of leadership, in terms of saying, okay, I like this game. How can I kick it up a notch and bring in more people? How can I formalize this and run a formal tournament where people register and then they show up and they play and they submit their scores. We have a bracket and we have a winner for this tournament. And that's something that Bodie has done before. And when I reached out to him, gosh, I think 2 months ago, and I said, hey, I think you're better at this than I am. Can you help me run this tournament on August 20th? He said, yeah, sign me up.
All right. So he's already found a niche for himself right now as well.
Absolutely.
Now, with the COVID-19 virus, making people spend more time at home, and of course, earlier before we were at phase 3, it was even more time at home. Are you getting people that are inquiring more about video games and this sort of thing? Because obviously, if you're spending more time with your kids and you want to keep them occupied, are you finding that parents are getting more into doing some video gaming as well?
I will tell you, most of the noise I hear is from other colleges, not just in our state, but from, I would say, everything west of the Mississippi. I've received a number of emails and calls of people saying, hey, we see what Grays Harbor College is doing. This looks really good. How can we replicate the stuff that you're doing? I spent, I think, about 2 hours going over our broadcast software with people from around the state about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they were just blown away by some of the stuff that we're developing here in-house. I really look forward to passing on these skills, not just to our students, but also to some of our community volunteers. We've got a guy who's I think he lives in Grayland. He is a marketing social media manager for a cryptocurrency company called Sandbox.game. And he's been taking on more and more of our production design and our sort of the producer role for our weekly broadcasts. And he's really brought in a level of professionalism. And this is a guy who's a member of the community who's volunteering his time. So we've got spots for people. If you want to get involved and do this, you don't have to be an employee. You can pick up some of these skills and you can get involved in some of the cool stuff that's happening around gaming that you can do from your home and have an impact statewide, or even half the country. Is there are people that are watching what we're doing, and I got to tell you, I am super excited about that.
So the Grays Harbor College is kind of on the cutting edge of this then when it comes to doing what you're doing.
We are the third community college in the state out of 34 that's going down this road. And one of the other 2 colleges that are doing this has been really, really interested in how we're doing it and wanting to replicate some of the things that we're doing, even though they got here a year before us.
And so you're kind of setting the tone, so to speak.
I think so. We're saying, hey, we're Grays Harbor College, we're here to play.
Or setting the bar, I guess, would be a better term.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, this sounds exciting, and now right now you're looking for what? Roughly 25 players.
I am. I think we've signed between 5 and 10 players right now for fall quarter, and there's another 20 or so that we're looking at in the recruiting pipeline. But we did recently add both Valorant and Fortnite as JV sports, and so I'm hoping that we will be able to get the word out. I got to tell you, it is definitely more tricky in a COVID-19 world than what we were anticipating. We were thinking we were going to be going out to high schools and going to sort of some of these festivals like PDX Land and some of the Northwest Majors events that happen in Seattle and Tacoma, and do some recruiting and really get the word out to kids around the state. And that's just not possible. And so, yeah, I think we're a little bit behind as far as recruiting is concerned. And if you've got an interest, I would love to hear from you.
And so once again, how did they get in contact with you?
ghc.edu/esports is the website to go to. That contains links to just about any place that we exist, including our Discord server. And gamers out there are going to know what I'm talking about when I say our Discord server. But more specifically, if you go there and hit the Join the Team button, fill out that form, that'll come straight to me, and I will be in touch with you to say, hey, let's schedule a tryout, let's see some of your gameplay, send me some VODs, and let's get you a jersey and put you on the team.
So you even get a jersey, huh?
Heck yeah.
So what's it look like?
We're actually waiting until we get all of our players to finish the design, but it is the Grace Harbor College blue and white, and we've got a couple of sponsorships that we're working on. We got a sponsorship with MSI, and we've got a few more that are in the pipeline, and we want our sponsors to have an option to sponsor us a little bit more in exchange for putting their logo on the jersey. So the design is not finalized, but esports jerseys are cool.
And so if they want to sponsor you guys, they can go through the same route that we just talked about to get in contact with you.
Absolutely. Or you can email me direct, esports@ghc.edu. And we've got a number of sponsorship packages available. I would love to work with some local companies, local businesses to say, hey, how can we represent your brand and work together to provide more opportunities and more scholarships than we currently already even have for some of these students.
Well, I want to thank you very much for being with us today, Ralph and Bodie, and good luck to you. And then maybe as time goes on, we can get back together and see how it's going.
And we can show off some of our trophies.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right, well, you guys take it easy. We're out of time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Doug.
You too. This is your source for news, information, and programming you won't hear anywhere else. KBKW.